NelsonJoypad.com bring you another original. It's fucking great.
There are a lot of games that I fondly remember from my childhood, from the brutality of Mortal Kombat to the stealthy antics and engrossing, if somewhat confusing plot, of Metal Gear Solid. There are very few that I hold in such high esteem as the first true RTS that I ever played. Homeworld was released back in 1999, and while I was absolutely terrible at the sophisticated, cutting edge and highly tactical game, I fell in love with it, utterly and completely. So it's with a sense of reverence that I watched eagerly as the ETA for my download of the Homeworld Remastered collection ticked its way towards zero. For anyone that may not be as obsessive about this as I am, the Homeworld Remastered collection is comprised of the games Homeworld and Homeworld 2. The original game was launched back in 1999 and was a true technological achievement. It featured three-dimensional movement, huge battles and fantastic audio. The Homeworld Remastered collection's version of Homeworld and Homeworld 2 have been upgraded in graphics, audio and compatibility to run with modern machines. They are, fundamentally, the same games that we played 16 years ago, and I find are like a fine single malt. Both games have aged well, but it's only for a sophisticated palate. The graphics of the Homeworld Remastered collection are absolutely stunning. I was unable to play the game on the highest setting, as my rig isn't all that powerful, but even with a few of the options turned down, it looked absolutely fantastic. The use of colour in the game is truly beautiful, and watching two fleets of capital ships slug it out over the backdrop of a nebula or a distant star is almost awe-inspiring. I was mesmerised by the flash of laser discharges and explosions as ships came apart. When you have the time to sit and look at the tableau as it folds out in front of you, it is beautiful. However, more often than not, you won't have time to simply observe the battle. All of the audio has been redone with the original cast and crew working together to recreate the authentic experience. I still get shivers when I hear Adagio for strings or hear the radio chatter between my ships. It's been done to damn near perfection. Both games run in the same basic way. Each game begins with the construction of a mothership and the subsequent attacks that force you into exile so you can build up your forces. The storyline of each game has an incredible emotional charge, and it shares the dark tones of shows like Battlestar Galactica with global genocide and species survival. It may all sound pretty standard, but the way in which Homeworld really stands out is that you never start from scratch. Each and every unit, each research option, and every credit earned transfers with you to the next level. This is simultaneously the best and the worst thing about Homeworld. It can be impossible to recover from a single bad mission. It adds real weight to the gameplay and fits in with the game's theme of every life matters. In one mission, I lost almost my entire fleet as asteroids pummeled them into oblivion, and after narrowly scraping past that mission, I was instantly ambushed in the next. With no ships to protect me, I had to reload a previous save. It's hard to describe. I both hate and love this system. The gameplay is solid and has aged very well, but there are some problems that make controlling your forces a bit unwieldy. In Homeworld, units are built individually and not in squadrons. There can be literally hundreds of units on the map in later levels, and with only the 10 preset hotkeys, there's no other menu or list to select units, it can be difficult to take full advantage of the advanced tactics that are available. It doesn't become a problem for some time, but in large battles, especially in multiplayer skirmishes, keeping track of all your units becomes the overriding impulse. There can be so many things going on over such a vast map that having the time to admire the fantastic aesthetic is a luxury you can ill afford. Units will regularly break their assigned formation as soon as they enter combat. This was only a problem in Homeworld and not the sequel, also remastered, but with something like this you just have to take the good with the bad. I played this on the day it launched and over the weeks since. During that time I found bugs and game crashes galore. In the first 3 levels alone, I had to restart the game 4 times due to problems with instant crashes, salvage corvettes refusing to salvage, and ships refusing to dock with the mothership. All of these problems made it almost unplayable. There have since been updates that have improved the performance, but there are still a couple of issues that are game breakers. I've tried the Homeworld Remastered Collection Steam Beta a few times, and each time I wasn't able to join or start a match. It's an ambitious plan. This multiplayer should allow players to use any race from either of the games and play together flawlessly. I never managed to get a complete match through this system. One match crashed, another lagged into oblivion, and so on. I hope that Gearbox get the feedback from players to improve this going forward. Beta has evolved to mean demo over the last few years, but this is a true beta and it's far from finished. I was terrified that I was going to be let down by Homeworld Remastered. I find that when I put so much hope and so much stock in a game, that it won't be able to live up to my impossibly high standards. The Homeworld Remastered collection didn't live up to my expectations, but I wasn't disappointed by it. The game is one of the best looking games that I've seen, and the storyline holds true even after 16 years. The reworked audio and the fundamentally solid gameplay we saw back in '99 all works perfectly together. The game is buggy, and its original flaws have been accentuated through time, but ultimately, Homeworld Remastered is still one of the best RTS games out there. Watching fleets of massive battleships in space has never been more beautiful or graceful than in Homeworld Remastered. The updated audio and visuals build on the fantastic gameplay of the original games. With three-dimensional maps, its combat is engrossing and opens up a new range of tactics to try. Some problems drag Homeworld Remastered away from legendary status, with a number of game-breaking bugs and an incredibly steep learning curve, but overall, Homeworld Remastered is one of the best RTS games around.